It all began with shadows. Yes, those dark silhouettes that follow us everywhere, always clinging to our heels. But something strange started happening. People's shadows became erratic, as if they had a will of their own. They began to move independently, carrying out actions that left everyone dumbfounded. It was on a cold night when my phone rang, interrupting my disordered thoughts. It was Inspector Thompson, a man hardened by years of service in the local police. "Detective Hastings," he said urgently in his tone, "we have a problem. A violent crime on Hawthorne Street. But here's the strange part. The killer's shadow seems to have detached itself and fled from the crime scene." Intrigued, I quickly headed towards Hawthorne Street. The scene was eerie. A lifeless body lay on the ground, but what caught my attention the most was the shadow gliding along the sidewalk, retreating like a dark serpent. It couldn't be a coincidence. My investigations led me to discover an ancient local legend. I found out that centuries ago, a group of witches had cast a spell to unleash people's shadows and grant them autonomy. The motive behind this dark act was hidden in the city's history, but it was clear that the crime on Hawthorne Street was linked to this ancient curse. As I delved deeper into the mystery, the shadows became bolder. They stole objects, committed acts of vandalism, and even threatened with violent deeds. The city was plunged into chaos, and I found myself in a race against time to discover how to stop this dark wave. I moved to the outskirts of the city, to an ancient temple covered by overgrown vegetation and hidden among the trees, radiating an aura of mystery and antiquity. As I ventured into its shadowy corridors, I sensed the presence of centuries-old secrets stored in its stone walls. I reached a chamber illuminated by dim candles, where the leader of the coven awaited with a penetrating gaze. The old woman, wrapped in a dark cloak, stood with the solemnity of someone who had borne the weight of the years. Her eyes, as cold as a starless night, scrutinized me before she uttered the words that would unveil the hidden truth. She explained in a hoarse and resonant voice that the shadows were a manifestation of an ancient punishment, a curse unleashed to avenge the condemnation they had suffered centuries ago. Those shadows, once subdued, were released as vengeful specters to seek retribution on the descendants of those who had unjustly condemned them. With skill and knowledge acquired over years of investigations, I uttered mystical words, hoping to undo the ancestral spell. A flash of light filled the temple's room, and I could feel the darkness receding, the shadows returning to their usual submissive state. It was an act of restored balance, a return to the normalcy that both the city and I yearned for. The old woman, a silent witness to the magical reverberation undoing her curse, disappeared into the shadows with the same grace with which she had arrived. Before fading into the darkness, she turned to me, and her cold eyes met mine. A melancholic whisper escaped her wrinkled lips. "The shadow of revenge always lurks." Now, as I watch the city regain its calm, a question lingers in my mind. Could it be possible that the shadows, despite being subdued, harbor an insatiable thirst for revenge? Only time will tell, but I know that the shadows are always there, waiting in the penumbra, ready to unleash their power at any moment.